What you doing, readers? I'm the AC, and I'm going to talk about a book I read called Restart Days by Sorahana. And there's a little infinity sign in the title, so I don't know if it's supposed to be Restart Infinite Days or Restart Infinity Days. I've just been calling it Restart Days in my head, so that's what I'm going to refer to it as, because it's not clear what the actual title's supposed to be. Here's an image of it so you can decide for yourself, but until then, it's Restart Days by Sorahana. Now, on the 8th day, God created the fictional reality. And this fictional reality is, I guess, supposed to be like, kind of like a purgatory, but there's games and a chance to bring someone back to life. It's not exactly heaven or hell, it's just nothing but a game, I guess. It doesn't call it purgatory, but it kind of has this purgatory feel to it. It's apparently a place where the dead go, so I guess they don't really move on, but it gives a chance from other people who are alive to go here and try to bring them back. And they do this by becoming part of this imaginary war. So like I said, it's like a game. It's kind of like tests to see if you're the best one to bring back someone. But this whole concept of, games involving death or coming back to life, kind of like that, kind of reminds me of Death Parade. And of course it's not exactly, it's literally just the concept of it itself kind of reminds me of that. And then of course I'm also been watching Tower of God, so the whole testing to try to save someone and going through these different games, tests, whatever, kind of reminds me of that too. But in order to get to the fictional reality, to participate in this imaginary war, you gotta kind of kill yourself to get there. And I guess it's just a matter of, do you have the resolve to do this? To risking yourself to go and save this person that you want to save. And apparently, at some point in the book, it talks about how the world kind of knows about this, and governments are trying to make people have to get permission in order to go and bring back people from the dead, and it goes into this whole idea of, well, people keep coming back to life, then eventually resources are going to be limited. It's a kind of unnatural thing for people to return to the dead. It's kind of natural order that people die and stay dead. Okay. So, the main character of this book is Yuzuru Kihara. Man, I suck at names. Sorry. One day I'll get better. But, apparently he's been doing this quite a bit. It's just, for some reason, he's forgot his past involvement in this imaginary war. But there's other people that apparently do remember who he is. And he doesn't really know what's going on. For a while, he just thinks it's some kind of weird dream. He's not taking it too seriously, but then, dreams get to seem too real. And the other weird thing is there's people that are in this imaginary world that know him and that he knows and remembers for some reason. And they're also trying to save the same person he is. So there's this conflict of competing for the same prize that would still benefit, but there's, this conflict that doesn't have to be conflict, but it can be conflict. That's what story's all about, is conflict, whatever. And it's an interesting thing, seeing how this plays out, because you have your enemies, and then you have who could be allies, and you just don't know in this weird situation what you should be doing, especially if you think it's a dream, whatever. But in this imaginary war, it looks like there's 6 people there that they call retainers, and they first decide their order and who's going to do what, kind of like who's making decisions, by picking chess pieces, and the chess pieces are worth certain points or percentages. And this chess theme is used throughout the book. And it's an interesting way to use the pieces. They're more just as a representative or like an avatar kind of deal or a rank, because they don't really correlate that much as to what a chess piece would do in an actual game of chess. But it is interesting. I've seen other things that use chess pieces as to represent something. But there is one weird thing that he does with the characters, and even though Yuzuru is the main character, he gives a first-person perspective for all the characters. He eventually, at one point, goes through the 6 retainers. They each get their own perspective, but they do it with the first person, and it's weird. And especially at the beginning, if everyone's using first-person perspective, they're not really using their names that much, and it was hard to keep all the characters straight. And there's a weird formatting thing that just goes on throughout. You get used to it eventually, but yeah, you don't spend enough time on each character for the first person to be necessary. I think if the book was actually longer, it would be worth it, and it would be a lot cooler, and to see how these characters' psyches come into play and get to know them more. But just these little bits at a time and switching back and forth, especially at the beginning, it's kind of weird. It takes some getting used to. There's also a weird thing where he just brackets words. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it was supposed to be like replacement italicized or putting in quotes, or I don't know. It's a weird thing. You get used to it. It's a little jarring at first, and it just doesn't seem to make much sense as to what's going on. Now, in this book, at least, there's 2 games that they play. One is called Memory Shift, and it's a nice psychological take on what a game could be, and it's pretty simple. You just you experience one of the other people's memories, and then you're supposed to synthesize, so some kind of sympathy for the person, but you also have to keep your own resolve to save the other person. And then the second game they play, called Virtual Paranoia, not really as psychological, more strategic, more combat action, and it's nice to have this kind of range. And once again, in Virtual Paranoia, they involve the chess pieces, and they all have different kind of abilities they can use. It turns out more just to be a fight. Still interesting to see. Doesn't take too long, neither of them do. But yeah, it's the range that's interesting. And different games are worth like different amount of points or percentages, and you would play so many to try to get to a certain amount. So it's interesting to see like there's these easy ones like Memory Shift that are more psychological, and then Virtual Paranoia that could actually take a physical toll, it seems like. Yeah. And it's interesting to see what the other games are going to be if we ever get to see those and see how it all plays out. I actually am really more interested in what the psychological ones would be more involved with, because those are just interesting to think about, and it makes a lot of thought of like what kind of situations would you do? Would you be show some sympathy through this other person? Would it be enough to kind of halt your own resolve? It's really interesting to think about. And overall, I really enjoyed the book. Like I said, I actually would like the book to be longer. That way I could see more of all these other people. Otherwise, there's not really much reason in first person perspective. More maybe third person would have worked great if it's going to be that short. But I'm also one who just likes slower paced stuff, likes more description, likes longer books, because I really like to dive into stuff and get lost in it. And this is a book I really could have if it was longer. So hopefully there will be second books in the future. I don't know what the plans are. In the author notes, I saw them mention about a sequel, maybe a book based off of another character. And we'll get to see what happens in the future, maybe. And there's another weird thing that caught my attention talking about the future is there's 2 representatives from the past, 2 from the present, 2 from the future. That was weird. I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with, because compared to everyone be referencing each other to, from past, present, future. Maybe someone in the past winning would affect the other 2, someone in the future wouldn't affect, I don't know. It was a weird thing. I didn't exactly figure that out and what was going on with it, but this is an interesting concept that may have more involvement later. We'll see. But what do you think? Have you read this book yet? Read anything else that Sorahana's put out? I don't know, Restart Days? Really cool. I really like it. But let me know. Let me know what else you're reading. If you like what I have to say about other books, go ahead and like this video. And if you want to see me talk more about what I'm reading, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I will do that a lot. But until then, thank you for watching. I am DAC, and bye.